Well, well, well. You took your sweet talk in here again. 3 weeks. Why are you late? Let's get on with the video. Yep. I know. I'm so late. I'm late. Sorry, this has been. I know I told because I do this every week and turned out the other week. Now it's been 3 weeks and it doesn't. I haven't had time to do these, so these are gonna come randomly, which is the same, I guess, with Spaghetti Series Sunday. Coolly, which one's Spaghetti Sunday at this point? I thought that by the time I release the next Spaghetti Monday episode, Chris Kitchen would have returned to Spaghetti Monday by now. But nope. He keeps on playing random horror games. Dude, get your priorities straight. Anyways, I'm ready for this video picked out. So, tabulate next week. Let's get to the first video. Alright, so the first video was from Monty Tamus. The last video I watched with him was the Wendy's one about the dude that was stalking him from outside the restaurant. Was really creepy. So yeah, it's about a true breaking horror story. And I think this one is the most recent video. So, yeah, let's see what this is about. I'm gonna ask go ahead and play it see because it might be an ad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for this ad to end. There we go. Alright, let's get it, people. Alright. Let's go.
This happened in 2012 when I was 10 years old. My family of 7 had just moved into a new house.
Let's see. Well, depending on I would have been 5 or 6.
In a sketchy neighborhood. There had already been several arrests on our block, and some houses had even been destroyed by fire.
Where do y'all live there, Dad?
The house itself was old, very old. The basement looked like something out of the Italian catacombs. It was completely unfinished, with nothing but dirt for a floor. When we moved in, we noticed the basement door had been locked with a chain from the inside. That should have been our first warning. There was also a lot of windows throughout the house. To get from my room to the bathroom, I had to walk past the kitchen and the back door. Anyone who grew up in a rough area knows how unsettling it is to walk past uncovered windows at night. That detail will matter later. I shared a room with my older brother, Nick. I was always a pretty paranoid kid and had trouble falling asleep, which is embarrassing to admit, but I used a nightlight until I was 12. One night, around 3 a.m., I woke up with a full bladder. I tried to ignore it, but the urge became unbearable. I hesitated, gathering my courage, before finally making my way to the bathroom. I walked slowly, cautiously checking every window as I passed. Everything seemed normal. I took a few more steps and turned into the living room, and my heart sank. A homeless-looking man stood at our back door, his hands cupped around his eyes as he peered inside. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Then, moving as silently as I could, I ducked behind the couch. My mind raced. Did he see me? I needed to wake up Nick. He was 3 years older than me and had a cell phone. I didn't. I began crawling toward our room when I heard something that made my stomach drop. The back door lock turned. This man, this stranger, had a key to our house. For the first time in my life, I whispered, "Shit." I pressed myself tighter against the couch, barely daring to breathe. The door creaked open. The man stepped inside, moving carefully, quietly, as if he had done this before. He was tall, around 6'2", with a long gray beard that reached his chest. A hat and a hoodie concealed most of his face. He walked into the kitchen and opened our pantry, casually pulling out a bag of chips. Then, without hesitation, he unbolted the basement door and disappeared down the stairs, leaving it unlocked. For a moment, I just sat there, paralyzed. Then, panic set in. I realized something terrifying. He would hear my footsteps if I tried to move. My mind raced for a solution. I spotted my little sister's blanket draped over the couch. Carefully, I pulled it toward me and slid my feet onto it, using it to muffle my steps as I made my way toward the kitchen. The basement door was only a few feet away. I swallowed hard and whispered to myself, "Screw it." Then I sprinted. I reached the door and slammed the bolt shut, just as I heard heavy footsteps pounding up the basement stairs. A loud thud rattled the door. I turned and bolted up the stairs leading to my parents' bedroom,
Yeah, lock
grabbing a
him
knife
in.
from the kitchen counter as I ran. I shook my dad awake, my whole body trembling. There's a man in the basement," I managed to stammer. My dad shot up instantly, grabbing the knife from my hand. He was a military veteran, a big guy who worked
But
out
that's
every
actually fine
day.
because the Monday I'm uploading, the damn is that's actually Memorial Day. So no, because he uploaded this last week. So I was like, maybe that's why they uploaded this because Memorial Day, but no. But that's a coincidence.
If anyone could handle this, it was him. My mom, meanwhile, called the police. They said they were 5 minutes away.
What
She
is he
didn't
doing in
want
the
to leave
basement?
my
So I'm
little
confused out.
sister
Like,
down.
how did he have a key to the house? And what is he doing in the basement? Is this like the previous owner of the house or something?
Stairs. So she took my hand, and together we made our way back to the kitchen. Just as we stepped onto the floor, the basement door exploded open. The man tackled my dad,
Oh my God.
sending them both crashing to the ground. They struggled, fists flying, my dad trying to pin him down. I didn't think, I just reacted. I sprinted to the kitchen, grabbed another knife, and rushed toward them. My hands shook, but I raised the blade, ready to stab the man.
"Give it to me!"
My mom shouted.
Oh my God.
I hesitated but handed her the knife. Without missing a beat, she stabbed the man in the back. He let out a strangled cry, giving my dad the chance to overpower him. My dad flipped him over, pinning him face down with his arms locked behind his back. I stood there, panting, my heart hammering in my chest. Then the sirens. The police stormed inside. My siblings, now awake, ran into the room, screaming at the sight of the blood-streaked floor. My older sisters pulled me into a hug, wiping away my tears as I shook uncontrollably. The man survived the stabbing and was taken to the hospital before being arrested. But the scariest part? We never figured out how he had a key to our house. That night still haunts me. I don't know what he wanted. I don't know how long he had been coming and going. And I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't locked that basement door in time. But I do know one thing. My mom didn't let me stab him because she didn't want me to carry that weight for the rest of my life. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Okay, one thing feels so good, but oh my Lily, you gonna leave him in the unsolved costume. Lily wants the entertainment. Lily wants the. Can we legally help us that unanswered question? What was he doing in the basement? Because he went to the basement for something. My guess is that it was a previous owner of the house and maybe he forgot to get something. But I don't know. Let me see what people are saying in the comments. If you have any theories for who that man is. Not saying anything. Okay, the man has the homeless man was in the house until he and his family moved in. And when his mom didn't let him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that person was on the person I lived there before, maybe, but why was he doing in the basement? I know that was confusing, but that's more entertainment, and we're gonna do a lot more for some awesome and release a new video since the last week's Game Monday, so yeah. So I think instead, who's going to do another watch entertainment? So we do a double watch entertainment, or I think we do watching entertainment. Then we do a whole source party. Then we can do social house films, and then our social house films can end off with alto. Does that sound good? All right, good. We'll do one more watching entertainment. All right, and then we're gonna be moving on to a whole source party. All right. See here. They have a lot of horses they put together like horse party. Yeah, a lot of compilations. Trying to see here. Okay, this one's a quick one. Yeah, let's do this one. True Mom Horror Story Animated, alright? This one's a quick one, 3 minutes. Alright, let's see what this is all about. Alright, and let me see when this came out. Oh, February 16th.
Hi,
Alright.
my name is Mimi, and I've always been able to sense and see the paranormal. It first started when I was 7, and ever since then, I've never stopped encountering them.
What?
This is
Okay,
one
wait, this
of
one's
my
fake because how did this? Yes, it's paranormal. What?
bizarre experiences. I was 13 at that time, and I often had to stay home alone since both my parents were out working until late in the afternoon. And my older
you get
sister
like a babysitter for you when you say like what?
usually came home pretty late.
Guess what?
from
Does
high
not making
school.
still sense. Well, I think
One
it's
day
fake.
I was watching
Sorry.
TV and just chilling in the living room. It was around 3:30 p.m. and suddenly the doorbell rang.
I'm gonna
It
say,
was my mom.
Sammy.
I was
no.
glad because I was getting pretty bored by myself. My mom freshened up and we had lunch together
Oh.
while talking about a lot of things. I felt relieved that I wasn't alone anymore. Even though I was pretty used to being home alone, I still felt kind of lonely at times. After finishing our meals, my mom and I went to our separate rooms and did our own things. Surprisingly, even though my mom was at home, I didn't hear anything from that room. Usually when my mom was at home, you could always feel her presence and she would be very active. In fact, she barely stays in her and my dad's room. Even though it was a little strange, I soon brushed it off as I thought she might be tired and just took a nap or something. An hour passed quickly and I was too busy chilling in my room, so I didn't think much about the strange silence in the house. It was around 5 p.m. when the doorbell rang again, and I assumed my sister came back from school. However, as I looked through the door, chills went down my spine. It was my mom who was standing outside. But how was this possible? Mom was just in her room and she never went out, even if she did.
Huh?
I would have heard something. She never goes out without informing us, and this part is as scary as it gets. She was wearing the same clothes when she went to work and was even carrying the same bag. I froze in fear. If this was Mom, then who was the one who I talked to and had lunch with? My heart was beating loudly against my chest, and I mustered up all my courage and opened the door.
Again, it's not making no sense.
My mom came in and behaved how she normally would, then went to her room to freshen up. Surely I couldn't have imagined this whole thing, right? I then ran to the kitchen, and to my horror, there were 2 plates in the kitchen sink, both recently eaten off of. I felt like I was going crazy. What the hell was happening to me?
Yeah, what?
Even though I was flabbergasted and didn't know what to do or how to react, I knew that I wasn't dreaming or imagining things, and I very much knew the difference between imagination and reality. I was really spooked out by the experience, but I calmed down after a while. After all, this was not completely unfamiliar, as I've had many strange and paranormal experiences before. But what makes me wonder to this day is who I really talked to and had lunch with, and what they wanted from me. I'm 18 now, and these bizarre and out of the ordinary incidents are still going on with me. But by now, I've grown accustomed to them, even though they still scare me sometimes. A lot.
Yeah, that one just made no sense. I'm sorry. That one just made no sense. I mean, yeah, that one, I think I don't know. Yeah. Anyways. Hey, y'all ready for some hostless party? Because I know I am. Let's see what we have from them today. Last time I went to the Walmart ones. Let's see. We'll do one of like another restaurant. Now let me see. Her birthday is going good, by the way. I don't get it that much, but if you haven't yet, subscribe. Looking at like go to 500 subscribers. This is exciting because that means halfway to 1,000, which is insane. So yeah. There's some more songs coming on my Mr. Productions channel. So yeah, better go check all those out. And see, I think. See. I think I'm gonna do this one from Wendy's, since we did the Wendy's one last time from Monty Entertainment. I can be watching just 2 of these. And I'm gonna say it's so unfair to go watch on your own. All right, people. Let's. That was 6 months ago. So on November 10th. Oh, all right. Oh, we have channels on this, and I just give the channels and narrate any of the last stories. Let's get it. Hey, Taylor Nicholson! Let's go! So many since then.
This happened to me years ago, but it still affects me to this day. It happened when I was working at Wendy's, going to college classes during the day and working there at night. I didn't mind the work at Wendy's. It was never very busy during my shifts. The restaurant closed down at the beginning of the night, so all I had to worry about were the drive-thru orders, unless it was a Friday or Saturday night, which was our busiest days, as expected. The late night only had 2 people working, one person to take the orders and someone like me to cook them. Naturally, this meant I knew all of my coworkers pretty well, as they were the only people to talk to during downtime. I was okay with all of them except this one guy named Dylan. This guy was a creepy-looking weirdo. He had wacky-looking hair like Rick from Rick and Morty. He didn't seem to care about hygiene either. He gave me the creeps every time I saw him. I knew my shift was going to be hell every time he was my coworker for the night. I would say that he was super into me, but it's really more like he was dying to get into the pants of every girl he saw. He came on to every single girl that he took orders from in the drive-thru. It was slightly amusing to see him get shut down 99% of the time, but it wasn't so funny knowing that I was next. He truly had no concept of boundaries or empathy, and he only saw women as objects. He asked me out a million times, and I declined every single time. But the guy always thought there'd be a chance I'd reconsider, because he never stopped hitting on me. Things only got worse. The longer I worked at Wendy's, Dylan started getting more brazen and started suggesting we have quickies at work.
Oh my goodness.
He would try to convince me to sleep with him multiple times a night, and each time he suggested a different spot, either the bathroom or the cooler or the kitchen. And a few times he tried to get me to do it right under the drive-thru window. I tried to be more stern and tell him that was never going to happen, but it was like I could never get it through his head that I didn't like him. I considered reporting him to the manager after every night I worked with him, but I never did. I was too scared of how he would react. The only thing worse than someone being creepy toward me was someone being mad at me. It went on like this for months, until one night, I had had enough. Dylan was absolutely egregious with his advances that night. He knew I was a timid person, and he was taking full advantage of it. He knew I hadn't told anyone about anything he did. At one point during the shift, he came up to the grill and tried to grab my hand while saying one of his usual pickup lines. I swatted his hand away and almost slapped him across the face with the spatula. but I held myself back and cussed him out.
Don't touch me. Just leave me alone. God, you're such a creep.
Wow, someone's a little spicy tonight. Spicy like the spicy chicken sandwich. But
Oh my goodness.
I bet
Okay, I know
you
the special
taste
interface
better,
on the last one.
sweetheart. Dylan
That's
shrugged
what
it off
accessory
after
it
seeing
is.
a customer come up to the intercom, so he went back to the window. A couple hours passed, and Dylan was oddly quiet. I started to think that I had finally done it. I had finally gotten Dylan off my back. Gone were the days of having to hide from him in the bathroom and dreading when there was no work to distract him. Later, past midnight, we had some downtime. I noticed I was low on some things that I would definitely need to get through the rest of my shift, so I went into the cooler to get some inventory. I was crouched down with my back to the door, looking for the right
That's
thing when I
where he
heard the
said
door
what to
open
do.
and close again.
Just will tell you what to do.
I froze for a moment, as I was genuinely shitting bricks. My heart began racing instantly. I didn't want to turn around. I knew it had to be Dylan. I then slowly turned my head around and saw Dylan standing over me, his face deranged like a psycho.
What are you doing here? You should get back to the window.
Chill out, baby. I've been waiting a long time for this, so I'll make it quick. He pinned me to the floor as I screamed for help.
Help! Somebody help me! Get him off me!
After a few moments of sheer horror, I managed to kick and scream and fight my way out of his grasp. I was able to hit him in a vulnerable spot and get away, bursting through the cooler door and running to the customers in line for help. They called the police and Dylan was later arrested. He kept saying it was a misunderstanding and that everything was consensual, but there were quite a few factors that made it obvious to the cops that he was lying. Mainly the fact that he had covered the camera in the cooler with a box, as well as a few other cameras in the building. He was clearly anticipating what he did to me. I was lucky enough that it didn't get as far as it could have. However, I still feel the scars from the horrifying night. The story was inspired by a horrific incident regarding a Wendy's employee who was arrested after a forcible altercation with a female coworker inside the fast food restaurant's cooler. The alleged incident occurred on a Sunday morning in Pompano Beach, Florida. A 25-year-old man named Tressel Huffman followed the woman into a cooler.
I'll see this question here for a minute. Why is everybody in Florida so messed up? Florida people come like Ohio people. Why is everybody in Florida so messed up? Come on. That's who Disney World is. Come on. Tease.
Cooler and proceeded to force himself on her as she tried to push him off. The incident only came to an end when the suspect failed to get it up. The female worker was then able to break free. She ran across the street and called the cops. After reviewing surveillance footage, authorities said that they witnessed Huffman place a box in front of the camera that faced the cooler. The manager of the location told detectives that all employees are aware that blocking cameras is strictly forbidden. According to the warrant, Huffman was inconsistent in his interview with the police and claimed the encounter was consensual. Huffman was later arrested and charged with the attack, along with kidnapping, false imprisonment, and battery. He was taken to jail and is being held without bond.
That first one was insane. Let's go to the second one is. Oh, my name is 8. Let's see what this one is. What these guys with the pies? Oh.
This happened back when I used to work the night shift at Wendy's. My days started out fairly busy, but always slows down after some time. By midnight, when we close the restaurant and switch to drive-through only, it's usually pretty dead.
I think after this one, I'm gonna go back and watch that one Walmart horror story I missed last time. Then in the next weekend Monday, I'll come back and watch the I watched 2 stories from my horse part field. Then come back and watch the last story in this one, so I can give y'all time to watch it on y'all's own.
Would usually use the last couple of hours of the shift to clean up before closing, but I often finished everything I needed to do pretty quickly. So I slacked off on my phone a lot. My co-workers are all the same way, so nobody gets interesting ever happens late at night, so it gets really boring. It was business as usual. It had been 10 minutes since anyone ordered food. That is until someone finally came up to the drive-thru.
Hey, are you by yourself?
Their voice sounded
Yeah.
weird over the intercom. It was definitely a man, but there was something up with him. Instead of ordering right away, he asked if anyone inside was celebrating a birthday. I didn't answer his question and asked him again what he wanted to order. My shift was almost over, so I didn't feel like taking his order, let alone have any conversation with him. Unfortunately, the guy wouldn't stop. No matter what I said to brush it off and get straight to the point, he kept asking about birthdays. I firmly kept reiterating no, but that wasn't the end of it. The guy then asked if anyone inside knew anybody else who was celebrating a birthday. I annoyingly told him I didn't know anybody else. That's when he asked me to go check with my coworkers and see. That was where I finally drew the line and told him I was not going to do that. Suddenly, the man shouted at me, demanding I do what he said. That's when I lost my shit and snapped at the guy, telling him to order or F off. Surprisingly, that worked. He backed down and apologized, though it didn't feel like a genuine apology. He ended up ordering some food and a soda, then he pulled up to the window in a pickup truck. By then, I had already made his drink. I opened the window and handed it to him, then opened my hand to ask him for payment. I hadn't even looked him in the eyes yet, as I was annoyed from the argument. But when I realized he wasn't putting anything in my hand, I looked up at him and saw the most disturbing face I had ever seen. The man looked like the creepiest weirdo ever. He looked like a zombie out of The Walking Dead. There was a huge smile plastered on his crusty face, but his eyes had a sinister look in them. He was the sort of person I would normally hesitate to even open the window for, had I been paying attention. What happened next was the most insane experience I have ever had at any job. Sir, can I see your card? You don't need my card. Well then, are you paying with cash? No, you don't understand. Sir, you have to pay or you won't be getting your food. Don't worry, I have something for you. Just wait a second. Hey, where are you going? Just hold on, I'll be right there. What the hell? Listen, I don't know what you're getting, but if it has to fit in the back of a truck, you can't buy a Baconator with it. What the hell is he doing? Trust me, you're gonna love this. I know you said it wasn't your birthday, but I got a little present for you. Stay back! Stay back! There's an alligator trying to eat me! Somebody help! You bastard! I'm gonna turn this alligator into Crocs and kick the shit out of you with it! I was stranded on that counter for almost an hour, even after I called 911. The gator had it out for me. I knew if I dangled my foot for just a second, I wouldn't have it anymore. When they arrived, the cops didn't want to deal with the gator, so animal control was called in. They finally captured the gator and took it away, ending the ordeal. The cops used the security footage to track down the man who threw the gator and arrested him. He told them he was just...
Okay, I know this one goes way from absurd, but oh my god, yeah, they over-exaggerated this. They over-exaggerated this. Oh my god, they over-exaggerated it. I know this one, and they 1,000,000,000% over-exaggerated this one. Holy... Oh.
Playing a joke and thought it was hilarious, but nobody agreed with him for obvious reasons. I nearly had my face bitten off. In my nightmares ever since that night, I'm never lucky enough to get away from that alligator in time. This story was inspired by a terrifying incident regarding a 24-year-old man named Joshua James, who was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon after he threw a 3.5-foot alligator through a Palm Beach County Wendy's drive-thru window. He's also charged with illegally possessing an alligator and petty theft. Jail records show he was released on $6,000 bail. He was ordered to have no contact with animals. A wildlife officer said in his report that James drove his pickup truck to the window at 1:20 a.m. on October 11th after an employee handed James his drink. That's when he threw the alligator through the window and drove off. No one was hurt. The wildlife officer captured the alligator and released it into the wild. James was later tracked down through video surveillance and a purchase at a neighboring convenience store. The culprit, James, later mentioned that he had found the alligator on the side of the road and put it into his truck, and then did what he did. James's mother, Linda James, told news outlets that her son's actions were just a stupid prank.
Alright, let's see. If y'all can go watch the last one y'all's on. Let's look at the first one. Yeah, don't do that, please. Don't do what the first person did, please. And yeah. Really good. And I wonder about the Gatorade Senka skin with Vesov, Saturate Vesov. That's all. Let's go and watch the one game Monday. Alright, so loading it up. Hold on. Alright, are we good? We're gonna continue now? Okay, good. I finally loaded in, so we're good. Alright, here we go. Go watch more images from this one. It's still in Walmart. Alright.
I came with my daughter from India to Canada 2 years ago. The transition was very going to India to the long and cold winters of Halifax was only the beginning. We came here ahead of my husband and sons. Our goal was to eventually move here permanently as a family. My beautiful daughter performed in
after the first like by the time done with this video, will be at 40 minutes. I'm just gonna I think the should we do Ultra actually? No, I think we're gonna end up with other house films, maybe.
We had to get jobs while we waited for everyone else. The only place that would agree to hire both of us was the huge Walmart in the center of town. I worked full-time while my daughter split her time with school, but every single hour we spent there, we were worked like dogs. We were given little to no training in all the departments, yet we were expected to know how to do everything in the store. I was scheduled for nearly 60 hours a week before I even knew what overtime was, and my breaks were frequently interrupted. To make matters worse, the customers were extremely rude and demanding of all of us, and the store was so incredibly busy from open to close that we were all constantly under a lot of stress. My daughter and I would be cussed at, pushed around, and ganged up on. Our bosses were part of the problem too. We quickly learned that complaints would not do us any good. In fact, they would only lead us to threats of being fired. Unfortunately, we did not have any other choice but to suck it up, as my daughter's cost of school combined with all of our other bills was very high. So we needed this job to make ends meet. One day, we were scheduled for the same shift. Whenever that happened, we always tried to take our lunch breaks at the same time. But when I sat down to eat that day, she never showed up. At first, I figured she was in the washroom, but several minutes passed and I still didn't see her. I texted her, but she didn't respond. After a few more minutes, I called her. There was something in the back of my mind telling me something was wrong. Throughout the rest of the day while working, I continued trying to find my daughter or reach her on the phone. I kept my eye out for her, and whenever I had a few seconds to spare, I got my phone out and texted her. I got more worried and anxious the longer I went without seeing her. When our shifts were over, I waited for her to show up outside the store where we always met, but she never showed up there either. That's when I started to panic. I went inside and searched the entire store, combing through every aisle and looking in every department and every bathroom and any other place I could think of. After 20 minutes of frantically speeding around the store, I stopped outside the kitchen area to catch my breath. I was on the verge of tears. Just then, I heard giggling from the kitchen. I looked over and saw a few of my coworkers standing together. They were looking at me and laughing, creeping me the hell out. Something about them just scared the shit out of me, as I knew they knew something. So I went over and started talking to them.
Hey, where's my daughter? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Stop playing games, you high cholesterol bitches! I know she was
Oh my
working
goodness.
in the kitchen today. What happened to her? Gosh, I don't know. Wait, isn't it 5 already? I think she went home.
In a last-ditch effort, I dialed the emergency number.
Yeah,
I
please do.
couldn't rest until she was found. When the police arrived, the managers tried to brush everything off and shoot them away because the cops would scare away customers. Thankfully, the officers were more sympathetic to the gut instinct of a mother. We began searching the entire store again, starting in the kitchen. Soon into the search, one officer pointed to the walk-in oven and asked what was behind that door. I told him what it was, and he asked that I open it. None of the gods in all existence could have braced me for what I saw next. I opened the door and was blasted with a wave of heat. And then, there she was, my daughter. There was only what remained of her after being trapped in that oven for
Oh my
hours.
goodness.
I broke down into a sobbing, screaming mess when I saw what happened to my beautiful girl. What that heat had done to her. Even now, I can hardly stand to think of it. I still await for the arrival of my husbands and sons to comfort me. But for now, all I can do is turn my grief into rage.
Rip.
The investigation of how my daughter was trapped in the oven is still ongoing.
Bobby
But I don't
Walsh
need to be a
was in it.
detective to know what happened. It's impossible for someone to just waltz in there and cook themselves. It's designed against that. The door is heavy and can't be closed from the inside, much less locked. The controls for the time and temperature are also on the outside. Somebody, probably the multiple people working together, trapped her in that oven and turned it on, then left her there to burn away. Unable to get help, unable to escape. This story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding the passing of a 19-year-old Walmart employee found in a bakery oven. Gursimran Kaur, an immigrant from India, was burned to death at a Walmart bakery on October 19th. According to a GoFundMe created by a Maritime Sikh Society executive, it was alleged that the victim Kaur and her mother had worked at Walmart for 2 years. The mother became worried when she didn't hear from or see her daughter around the store. Unlike the usual check-ins, the mother eventually opened a walk-in oven to find her daughter's quote-unquote charred remains. The fundraiser's page said that Kaur's father and brother were in India at the time of her untimely demise and were trying to get to the US. It is unknown whether they arrived in America or not. Police have stated that the matter was very complex and the investigation is ongoing. On October 31st, a spokesperson for the Halifax Region Police told Newsweek that any public updates on the Kaur case would be shared on its website and social media. At the time of the publication, there have been no updates.
Yeah. I thought it was the bottom part of those three creepy people. Alright, file as always. Now I'm gonna go into the last video for this Spaghetti Game Monday. And that is Social Health Film. So I had the violinist, and that was like creepy. So what that was this time. Let's see. Alright, you know what? So this video's like 40 minutes. I think I'm gonna do a solo one. Yeah. Alright, they have this one called Bedhead. It came out 5 years ago, and it's still sort of the most popular video. And I was curious after seeing this one. Oh, I this on of this week's got funny of his on Spooky Scary Sunday. So yeah, it came out 2019. Oh, 10 for my 13th birthday. Alright. Here we go, y'all. Last one. Let's get it. Let's go, Victoria. A. And I've been doing this. I've been making my bed away. Is that quickly? How did that just happen? Of course. Happened again, isn't it? Yep. Oh my god, bedhead. This bed has a head. Hold on. Alright, finish this out. There's nothing there, is there? Yep. Oh, I hate this. Come on, build up to Tom scale. Why you feel comfortable sleeping there? Oh my goodness. It's gonna be there once he puts his blanket down. Oh, you look pleasant. Yeah, that didn't get. I'm sorry. Tom Skills won't get me anymore. I'm sorry. Because I know what to expect them. That's why. But still, really good. Such and such hot films. And shout out to y'all for watching the video. Next time next week. Let's get some. Please have fun by the next week's game. It's next week's Sunday when by the time I've uploaded next week's game is on. So we can get Monday. Tease. Ugh. And hopefully I can do this weekly again, but I'm doing another specific game Monday next week. Then so CMS got really busy, gets up over 100 channels. So yeah, the main time focus on this channel, Smith Plays Games, my music productions channel, my Adam Apps live streams channel, and yeah, my Adam music productions channel we're focusing on too soon. And I could do a backup account, make a song for that channel. Same from Adam Waps, that's time making music for Adam Waps. So yeah. And soon after the story time, I keep saying I'm going to bring that for the story time back soon, but that's going to be very soon after the story time. So have fun returned by the time I post the next biggest game Monday, hopefully. Anyway, that's it. My Austin, all these really good. My favorite, let me see, guys. I want to make these because I ranked the last ones. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we only had to do 1, 2. Oh, I did 5 videos, so yeah. My favorite I think was the first story, that's True Wendy's first story time. I think that one was my favorite because yeah, just don't do that, please. Yeah, but they definitely accessory the Gator incident, the Wendy's Gator incident. Anyways, that's it. That's Watson. Y'all subscribe, get one more out. Half a thousand subscribers is really insane. I don't have any subscriber specials, so yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry, Amblin. My Watson for the rest of your stay, and I don't think I'm still. Let me actually see. Let's go. I think I'll go to the mystery after poll later, but so far I think I'm gonna put that vote on that poll, but hopefully by Tuesday or maybe even Wednesday. And I put my vote on the mystery after poll where I can start doing the music videos from the fourth music video as a poll, posting it up for 2 years. So yeah. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. And I catch y'all when I catch y'all. Deuces! I was gonna say something, but I don't have to. Yeah, that's all I have. Bye.